Friends and enemies, welcome back. Canadian Bitcoiners podcast number 175. Quiet day today, quiet evening yesterday, long weekend here in Canada. My name is Joey. That's Len. What does that mean? Moisturized, flourishing, relaxed, in my lane, unbothered. Like fat Asian guy under a waterfall. That's how I feel today.
Just soaking
That's
it
right.
all in, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Letting it wash off him. Yeah. How are you doing over there? What's going on?
Now, I'm sane. I'm as sane as I have ever been. I'm very clear in terms of what's going to happen moving forward with myself. Hopefully others are also as clear as I am. Right? Like, let's be honest. There's going to be so much that's going to happen. Get a bag of popcorn, sit back and enjoy. Markets are burning. We're going to go to war, it looks like.
World's on fire, man.
Yeah, there's so many things. Well, whatever. Let's not go into it because there's a few things we got to touch before we go any further, Joey, right?
Sure. Sponsors,
Yeah.
Easy DNS.
Yeah.
Had the pleasure of sitting down with Mr. Jeftovic for lunch yesterday. Okay, Len, Mark is going to kill me for talking about this. Faux pas or not faux pas? You go to lunch and you order nachos as your entree for lunch. Faux pas or not faux pas?
Depends how much you know the guy or gal.
No. I ordered a sandwich. Mark ordered nachos from. He wanted nachos for lunch. And by the way, they're in my fridge right now. Most of them are in my fridge. Thanks, Mark, for that. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. Good or bad? Should you be ordering nachos for lunch?
I have no opinion. I don't know.
Huh.
So you have an opinion, obviously. I want to hear what it is.
I told him at the time, I'm like, can't fucking order nachos for lunch. That's not a lunch meal, but anyway.
It was an appetizer then. What about that?
We got antojitos as an appetizer. So
I have no.
We were hammering. Let me tell you, we were hammering the seed oils yesterday over lunch, but we did solve a lot of the world's problems. Anyway,
no, you didn't, because they're still around us.
And no one's asked me for the solutions yet, but I have them when they're ready. So Mark came down. We did enjoy a nice meal together. Spent a couple hours at a local spot. Good time as always. And how do I know Mark? Well, he was a guest on the show many moons ago, but then he became a sponsor and a friend of ours. So Easy DNS has been the sponsor of CBP. I think we call him the presenting sponsor for, I don't know, a year and a half now, something like that, maybe a little longer. Mm-hmm. And we use EasyDNS for our website. You can use EasyDNS to host your website if you want. If you want to buy a domain, bring a domain, you can do that. They have something called Domain Sure as well. I mean, these guys really are all about two things, right? Making sure that you're up and making sure that you're never coming down. And it's hard to get that kind of service. You look around the landscape for hosting providers and just general like IT and IT related services. And what do you see, Len? And we talk about it every week on Access of Easy. It's one gong show after another, but never over at Mark's shop. Mark's shop is always up. They got all kinds of stuff there for Bitcoiners, tons of goodies that you guys will love. Virtual private server stuff, chief among them. Can you say chief among them still? I don't know. Anyway, chief among them, virtual private server stuff. Len's trying not to laugh. And, you can run a Bitcoin node, Nostr relay, BTC Pay server, nodeless, whatever you want. I always say there's other stuff I'm forgetting. There probably is, but this is one of the best places for you to do this stuff, if not the best. And I'm saying that not just because Mark is a sponsor, but because, like I said, we use the service. And here at CBP, we've only ever had a few sponsors, and always sponsors that we were using, supported, stood by, and are happy and, I think proud to recommend. So if you want to go head over and start something, whether it's a website or you want to start a little business or you want to start a little blog, I don't know, whatever you want. EasyDNS, CBP Media is the code. Tell Mark we sent you. Get half off, right? Your first round of buys.
50% off your initial purchase. So make sure
can't beat it. Yeah, I can't beat it, man. Load the cart and enjoy the ride. Second sponsor.
Bull Bitcoin. Look at the price of Bitcoin. It's not showing behind me. Or it's not showing behind you. We're in sync with our block clocks. So whatever the price is, I don't even know what the heck it is. Whatever it is. Good time to buy. Do your own research, of course. Good time to sell? Probably not. But either way, Bull Bitcoin has you covered. You could do your buys or sell on-chain, Lightning. Fees, last I checked, were super low. It was approaching the 2 sats per VByte territory. That is extraordinarily low. So buying on-chain, maybe something you want to consider. Obviously, again, do your own research. You could buy Lightning if the fees get rather high, and it does every so often. And when you do, Bull Bitcoin is going to enable you to buy on the cheap with using Lightning. Other things they give you, will give you options to do. You could pay your bills with your Bitcoin. Look, the price of Bitcoin dropped quite a bit. Maybe not the best time right now to start using your Bitcoin to pay bills, but maybe in the future, maybe the price of Bitcoin absolutely rips and you want to use it. And you can use that to start paying some of your bills, like maybe, a car payment or something like that. So Bull Bitcoin could help facilitate that payment through your Bitcoin. So it's all good. Another thing they do, if you want to start spending your Bitcoin in the real world, it's kind of hard to do that. Right. So one of the ways Bull Bitcoin enables you to do that is buying gift cards. So you could spend your Bitcoin through Bull Bitcoin. And with that, you can then go in the real world, get these gift cards and buy whatever the heck you want. Home Depot, if you got to get, new shutters because there's a storm lately, or maybe you never know, right? Like
your neighbors, you want to get a giant floodlight, shine it toward their backyard, whatever you want, really.
Piss them off. Yeah. Use your Bitcoin to do that. So buy the gift card and the way you go. So if you haven't opened an account, use our promo code below. And if you do, $21 is going to be added to your account. But also of note, they're non-custodial. This is a very big thing. We talk about this all the time. You don't want to buy and let the exchange keep your Bitcoin. You want to take that right away off. Bull Bitcoin doesn't even give you the opportunity for them to hold on to you. When you buy your Bitcoin from them, you have to provide an address because it's going to be sent to it immediately. Great stuff. They're mission oriented. Check them out.
Can't beat it, man. And we got a third sponsor, Decentral Tech. I don't know what what is the read for these guys. We know Jonathan a little bit. I've been a big fan of the idea that mining has to be decentralized further from where it is now. You've also been on this train for a long time, that the industrial miners on a long enough time horizon are a negative for network security, and I think a negative for the asset. If you want to start doing a little home mining, these guys have your back. They will sell you a miner, they'll repair that miner or another miner, whatever board you have, and get you back online. These guys have, I don't want to say it. Actually, I will say it. I don't care what Jonathan thinks. They have what he claims is the fastest board repairman in the world working in their shop. Did he or did he not say that? He did say that.
Yeah.
The fastest board repairman. Again, CBP, we do not fuck around when it comes to sponsors, okay? And we've had other offers from people. We don't take them. The phone calls are coming in. We screen
them. Those DeFi guys keep asking.
The emails are coming. We're not talking to you. We're not taking your money. We don't want it. I want these guys to be partners with us. What else we got to say about Decentral Tech? This is my first time doing that read. What else should we be talking about?
BitAxe. You can get the BitAxe over there. There's different flavors of BitAxe. So you can get a hex, which you could get a little bit more hash power out of it, or you get the single chip on. So with that, it's going to be quiet. You could have this running next to you where you're sleeping. You won't even notice it's there. It's wireless. Sorry, it's Wi-Fi, not wireless. You still have to power it up somehow. But you can also get 110 volt quiet rigs like the Antminer Slim. That's another thing that they have available. We're we're in the middle of the summer, right? Let's not beat around the bush, but winter's coming up and there's going to be people that need space heaters. Why not just use a Bitcoin miner to do that? They have options to sell you that you could do that. So you can mine Bitcoin all the while heating your home. So check that out. Decentral Technologies. And what else could I say about them? We're going to have Jonathan on the show next month to talk a little more in depth.
Nice. I got to make time for that one if my football schedule allows. I was on the show when Jonathan announced I got to say, not to do too much business on there. And I don't know if he said this last week, but I am always happy to see when sponsors are like, I want to announce ASAP. Don't wait till next week. Don't wait till next month. Don't wait till next show. How about in a fucking hour, I come on the stream and we tell people you can't beat that. You can't beat that. That's the kind of people we want to be working with, man. And that's like the sort of stuff that, makes me happy as a guy who does the podcast with you, Len. And I think it makes the people who are listening to the show happy too, to know that we're working with really enthusiastic, high quality, high output people. And the guys at Decentral, no exclusion there. Have you bought one yet? What are you going to buy?
I'd like to get a hex.
Yeah. I think that's the move. I know we talked about this offline already. I wondered if you're changing your mind. 4 gig.
Yeah. That's ideal, but we'll see.
That's options. I'm gonna get one. You'll see it plugged in right back here somewhere.
But you won't hear
it back there.
You'll see it, not hear it.
That's right. You'll see it, but you won't hear it. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so
it's not because it isn't on. It's because
that's right. Quiet. No, it'll be running. So let's do a little housekeeping. Last week you brought on UTXO. He's got a new project. What is the project? What should people be listening for from that episode?
Yeah. So remember he was doing nodeless, and for some time, and because things went sour with respect to how authorities are So it was a money transmission business is what they were talking about. So he's now moved on to something called Bitvora, bitvora.com. You could check it out. And it's a place where if merchants want to take advantage of using Lightning, rather than setting up their own Lightning network node, and it takes time and effort to administer it, you can just simply pay for them to provide the services.
Yeah.
Look, there's not many people that are going to be buying with Bitcoin, and even fewer using Lightning at that. So why have the vendors dedicate time and effort into ensuring this thing's running? Just punt it off and have somebody else do it. That's what Bitvora does. So they're just trying to help bring Lightning to the masses, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's sick. I haven't listened to that one yet, like I said, but I do need to. I need to get on that tomorrow. Kevin Muir, the yen whisperer of all people, going to be on the show at 4 p.m. Eastern. Kevin is a very, very busy guy, very, very in demand podcast guest, podcast host, and still works for an active trading desk. So this guy's hard to get. I'm really glad we got him. The timing couldn't be better. CBP again, like, the stars really aligning for us. So 4 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be talking with him for about an hour. There's lots to talk about. I mean, we've seen some data dumps. We've seen some, risk and I don't know, what else can we say? Uncertainty manifest over the last week, 2 weeks. Is that too soft? Might be too soft. A little risk and uncertainty. The whole thing's a fucking powder keg. Anyway, Kev will be on. And I think I might ask him some hockey questions. Him and Patrick Fresno do the market huddle, which may not be your cup of tea if you're a Bitcoiner, but I got to be honest, even if I don't care too much about the topic or care too much about the guest or enjoy necessarily the technical content in a given week, Len, I think that a lot of people go to that show for the same reason they come to this show every week. They like you and me, and they like the way we talk to each other and the sort of rapport that we have. Him and Patrick have a very, very strong rapport. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him tomorrow. I've been a fan of his for a long time. So 4 o'clock tomorrow, that's when we're doing that. Next week, I am on again with a fella who goes by More Births on Twitter. And we will be talking specifically about Canadian birth rate struggles, the why, the how we got here, and what do we do to get out of it. And I think you're really going to like that show. He doesn't pull a lot of punches. I'll tell you now that show is going to be very, very data and chart heavy. So if you're a typical audio user, make time, go to YouTube for that one. To get an idea of what we're going to be talking about, he just did Stefan Lavera's show, I think about a month ago, and I really enjoyed it. And that's why I reached out to him, and he graciously agreed to come on and talk to us. So I'm very excited to talk to him as well. And God, these spotlights are fucking up my camera. I got to turn them off. But anyway, I know.
Are they going on and off too?
No, it's when I like turn my head down a little bit, the camera focuses on something, and then when I turn my head up, it has to like reset the light. It's the camera lens, not the light, obviously. But yeah, anyway, so there's your housekeeping. We got some good stuff coming up over the next week or two. Get ready for that.
Yeah.
Well, I turn this light off. Keep talking.
I'm gonna go to Boost because I also don't want to spend too long. I gotta fly off to Paris after this. I have a boxing match in the women's events.
Oh,
so I'm gonna see what I could do. Anyways, we got only two worthwhile boosts to read off. D's laughs, 123 sats, and he writes an ITM, and I have no fucking clue what ITM means.
In the money?
Do you have an idea?
In the money, ITM? I
don't know. But D's laughs. There you go, ITM. Anyways, wartime 333 puts a fire emoji. That's it.
Nice.
It's been a light week with respect to that.
Thank you for your fire.
Yeah, we'll take that and donate it soon enough. Anyways, Joey, any last words before we go into some of the stories for this week?
I think that's it. Yeah. I don't know. If anything comes up, I'll just spit it out during the show, I'm sure. Let's rip.
You know what? We'll start off light and we'll really ramp up, especially during the normal stories, right? So,
okay, yeah.
Anyways, we'll talk about Bitcoin news. Some new advisories that came out from the Bitcoin Core group about previous versions of Bitcoin that are long since been outdated. And people running Bitcoin Core, like if you're running a node, a Bitcoin Core specifically, and it's very old, I would recommend considering upgrading to a newer version. There's many reasons why you want to do it, including what's in these advisories. Now, what version should people run? You got to do your own research here. There's no right or wrong answer, but what I run version 25.x, one of those versions, because that is one of the oldest that is still Bitcoin Core versions that is still being maintained. So because of that, I like to use an older version that still is being maintained. That's just my opinion. Whatever works for you, either way. As for the advisory, it's talking about known and also known issues and fixing bugs. These are for versions 22 and older, Bitcoin Core 22 and older. And the bugs and fixes, they're not earth-shattering, Joey. It wouldn't cause Bitcoin as a whole to break. It may be an issue for an individual node runner, and it may cause them to have some susceptibility. I can't even say the word. They could have get knocked out online. Their node could be like DDoSed or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not fucking like, that's not breaking. It sucks for you as a node runner. Sucks for me as a node runner, but Bitcoin still runs, right? Like the network still functions. Either way, we getting this news about this information, but I'm wondering, we're getting this information years after the fact. Bitcoin Core 22, what we're getting right now, last updated December 2022. It's been a long fucking time, right? Like, makes me wonder if this is the best practice.
Yeah.
And, you know, disclosing shit years after the fact, I don't think that's right. You know, look, we got to be more transparent when we're dealing with stuff like this. And we got to hold these people, Bitcoin Core folks, to task. If there's a problem and it was fixed, release this to the world shortly thereafterwards and advise people, here it is. It may be advisable to upgrade your node. But either way, if there's a problem and it's known, it's also good for the public to get involved. This public discussion, more people get involved, board to create a fix, provide opportunity to fix stuff, propose solutions, shit like that. This is a community effort, right? Like, by doing this, it excludes the community.
Yeah.
So, like, we're all big people, right? Like, I understand there's going to be bugs. You understand there's going to be, everybody understands. Like, nothing is perfect, especially not Bitcoin Core, right? But still, like, these guys, they're acting like they're doing shit for us, acting on our best behalf, and releasing information when they think it's right. No, man, they should be releasing information right away. This is a community-driven project.
For sure. For sure.
Part of community. In fact, when this came out, this advisory for Bitcoin Core 22 and newer, Luke even piped in on X, and he mentioned, with respect to the advisory, and I quote, neither of which had been responsibility disclosed or recommended for patching at any point to me as Bitcoin Knots maintainer, despite Bitcoin Knots 21.x being officially supported until last month. It is incompetence or malice from the developers supposedly triaging these things. So even he didn't get this information till just now. So it puts core developers in a situation where they are acting for us without us interacting with them. I don't like that. And either way, we should put them on notice. And we don't need this nanny state type situation. This is community. We should be doing this. Fuck them. And let's get involved. Let's do more things. Let's try not to hold them to this high. Let's not put them on a pedestal. They are people after all. They could fuck up, and they fucked up here. We're all Bitcoiners, and we should tell them what we want. And I want more transparency.
Don't you think this adds fuel to the ossification fire? Stop messing around on layer one. Stop messing around with apps that have been reliable for a long time in the name of appeasing and appealing to, I think, a small local minority most of the time. And just let this thing ride as is. Anything else that you want to build has to be built on layer two. Doesn't it add fuel to that fire? Stories like this?
There's some things, though, you have to do. Like, if I know we're talking about OpCat, for instance, like there's some things, and I don't agree with doing that right now. If there's really a need for it, and if there's provably there's a need for it, and it's going to be beneficial to the community, then you're going to have to do it. So ossification may work for the most part, but there still may be some tweaks or even some minor changes. I'm thinking that's a minor change in the grand scheme of things. But man, like I'm just pissed off at this whole thing. You know, like, I mean, ossification is fine, but fucking transparency more than anything.
Yeah. Don't we talk a lot about this on Axis of Easy too? Like these sort of vulnerabilities of different sorts and different severities, they're never disclosed early. And, you know, there's some, I think, ethical reason to disclose early, but from a technical point of view, isn't it in their best interest to wait until they're sure that everything's boarded up and sealed off? I don't know. Like, that's the other thing.
There is a
right?
difference.
Okay, there's
a huge difference. If you are the owner of that software and it's intellectual property, you own it, and it's closed, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But when this is free and open source, when they want interaction with the community to review the code, submit code suggestions, this is not the way to do things. How can you build on something that's been changed and updated, but you have no idea it has?
I'm with you.
Disclosure.
Yeah.
So that's wrong. Because this is open source, they don't have that same right to withhold that information. They got to be more transparent.
Isn't the solution, like, sort of at the first mover level, isn't the solution, well, Len, you should have done the review.
Everybody should be doing the review.
Everyone should, exactly. And so that's probably what they would say, right? It's convenient to kind of pin it on them. I don't have the technical wherewithal to really comment and make a, I think, valuable contribution to this story, but sort of like at 30,000 feet, if we just take some broad strokes here, yeah, I think that they should be engaging the community more. The question is, if you look back on all the sort of boring and mundane code-based changes that have happened in Bitcoin over the last 5 years, 10 years, whatever, how much community engagement did they get besides the mailing list, right? Zero, close to zero, unless it was something major like Taproot or whatever. There's almost never any community feedback. And so there's two things I'd have a problem with. One is, I want to know how you're defining community, number one. And two, is the community, if you do actually define it broadly, what value does the community, quote unquote, actually add? So far, the community has been wrong more than it's been right, in my opinion. And so I wonder what value you think the community would add on something like this.
Well, at the very least, they could be actively involved rather than just being sitting on a sideline and being a spectator. That's a big thing. There are very smart people that understand code that can get involved and provide some insight. They're excluding them just because, for whatever reason, they might have a valid reason, but I don't know what it is. So that's why I'm pissed off. And with respect to Taproot, that wasn't.
Are you mad? I can't tell. Are you mad?
I'm always pissed off. Always pissed off. And not just Taproot. Like, did you have a say? I didn't have a say. I heard a note. It was signaled by the miners.
Yeah.
Right? Like, come on. So
I don't know, man. I'm just.
It wasn't a hard fork. It was a soft fork.
When you say community feedback, I think more like narrative feedback more than I think actual voting rights. And so that's the other thing, right? Like, what sort of feedback? Let's say they get feedback from the sort of small C community, and no one wants to make a change or whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of talking in circles. I just the point I think is, it's related to, or in the same vein as, at least a little bit, this Isaiah's job theory, right? Like, you want to keep your tight knit group of extremists tight knit at all costs to move the ball forward. The more that you, quote unquote, engage and sacrifice, competency for, cohesion, you wind up dampening your product, I think, right? You dull the edges of your knife. And, we've seen that in a lot of cases. Bitcoin, maybe not quite yet, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Anyway, the more that you talk about stuff like this with the community, and the more the community talks about stuff like this, the more I think that there's just a lot of people who graduated from Yappers University out there who have an opinion because it gets a couple likes on Twitter, but actually don't have any technical competence. I would count myself in that group for this topic. I just don't know. I don't know what to add. My opinion is there. I know it carries some value, but there's no way that it carries much value as the people who decided not to talk about this for 2 years or whatever it was.
Well, if you propose a good idea, I don't care about your technical background, or if it's something that is good, or you propose a solution to a problem. I don't care what your credentials are. The idea is what I want to fucking vet. That is it. So everybody has a different skill set they could bring to the table, and that's fine. I'm good with that. And it seems like there's a lot of good people being excluded for a number of different reasons, and it's too bad.
Yeah.
For what's at stake here, we've been talking about this being decentralized. Does this whole scenario?
No.
Exactly.
But the mailing list, I don't actually think Bitcoin is as decentralized, capital D decentralized as everyone says it is. It's not the stone tablets that everyone claims. I don't think the mailing list is really where this thing, cuts its teeth, where this thing's bread is buttered, whatever. Pick your overuse saying there, but again, there are certain even the case you're making, it sounds like there are good people who are being excluded, like Luke Dash, right? Luke Dash here. Like, is
And
adding
many
Luke
others.
who?
I don't want to name names
They're not
specifically, but
like how much are they?
we'll be
How much
chatting
they
with
can?
one in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I know. I
So
guess true.
right, so
Yeah.
there are a lot of people, and there's a number of people that are in that same scenario and same boat.
Maybe we should all care more then. Like, is that the answer? We should all care more.
Hell
Like,
yeah, we have
yeah,
to
because
hold these
I'm
people to
guilty big
task.
time here. Yeah.
We got to demand more from them. The reason why, look, and this will segue to the next thing. We do have a lot of power. We had the Bitcoin Independence Day that we celebrated this past week. It was August 1st. It was the 7th anniversary of Independence Day, or the user activated software. If that alone doesn't describe or outline how much power we have and how decentralized this fucking thing is, because we had at that time these uncooperative miners, very powerful. They had a lot of money backing them. They weren't able to twist people's arm and shove a narrative down our throats. I wasn't there at the time. When I say our throats, I'm talking about the people that were. But it goes to show you that this is a decentralized movement. If people don't want to do what they want, like what somebody else is telling them, they can simply fuck off and still run whatever node they want.
Mhm.
That in itself is a vote. And they're saying that they're voting for that piece of software and they want to run that. They want to support it. And they want to verify their transactions based off that. So SegWit 2x didn't come into fruition. SegWit did. Why? Because node runners wanted it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what can I say? Yeah, you're right. I
We
know.
were in a standoff there.
That is what happened. Like, what, you're right.
Yeah.
that's how SegWit went down. So there you go.
Yeah. And so that's my debate about that. It is decentralized. Like, granted, we have this group here of developers that are doing things behind closed doors to a degree.
Do you subscribe to the mailing list, the dev mailing list?
I did for a while. I think they've moved on to something else.
I don't know.
But
I was on it as well, but I don't know now if I still get those emails or not.
But you could get that information if you go to the Bitcoin subreddit.
Mhm.
No, it's not subreddit. It's a Discord. And on there, they have a sub channel, I guess you want to call it, that has the stuff from the mailing list. Like, so you're able to get it without even subscribing to it. So I'm a big fan of that. Check out that Discord. It's the Bitcoin Discord. A lot of good people on there. Great signal to noise ratio. Like, it's unparalleled, I would say. But
and as Len mentioned, a soon to be return guest coming in August as well.
Yeah, that's going to be dynamite. I look forward to chatting with him again.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on. We'll talk about what's going on with the Blockstream Ledger. Blockstream Jade, not Ledger. Ledger's fucking shit. Jade, looks like there was some emails that were floating around for Jade users. At least looks like it may be fake. So I'm not 100% sure about what's going on here, but there was an email that was sent out to do with the blind oracle. That's the secure element. That's the virtual secure element that Blockstream Jade uses, rather than, say, an actual chip that Cold Card uses. And this is a way, it's a tamper-resistant hardware component. It's a way to store sensitive information. So the difference is Cold Card has a chip that actually does it, and the Jade has a virtual server that does it. So you have to connect to the mothership in order to make this all work. But so the email said there was some sort of interaction between the blind oracle that may have been compromised, but it looks like that's not the case. Blockstream came out on X saying, quote, "This is fake. The email address is wrong. Internal processes have shown there's not a leak. Blockstream Jade has not been compromised." But the question remains, though, like, how did people get the emails to contact people? Because people like BTC Sessions and a whole bunch of others got the email and reported it. But I'm wondering if they're just simply sending out emails to prominent Bitcoin folks, or do they actually have email addresses that they have that's correlated with Blockstream Jade users? I don't know. Either way, I'd recommend, I think the CBP recommends, I don't want to say this, maybe you could say I'm wrong, but at least I recommend using a device that doesn't phone the mothership.
Yeah.
Something like Cold Card, for instance. Everything is done. You can do it. I mean, you could plug it into your computer, but I would recommend doing it all offline, air gapped, and it contacts nothing. The Cold Card or CoinKite has no idea you're using it. So something like that is a far better product to use than Jade. So this whole email that went out, it's clearly a fake, but maybe one day it won't be. And what happens if that's the case? You might be kicking yourself if you haven't used a Cold cold card. Check out how to use a cold card. It's really easy in the grand scheme of things. If you need help, let me know. I'll fucking guide you through the process. But use it, do it right. You'll sleep better at night.
Help me understand why people are using the hardware devices that still connect up to any other, server, mothership. What is the rationale there at this point? How many more times you got to see like a story about leaked emails, leaked addresses, leaked payment info, leaked wallets, like all this? It's just ridiculous. People are still doing this. And, Blockstream, Ledger, Blockstream is not. Ledger's done a lot of things negatively for their own business. And I think for the people who use their product, basically since the first Nano, everything they've done has been like a worse iteration of the same product, same service, broadly speaking. I think Blockstream Jade is a Bitcoin only wallet, I think, right? I have one. I should know this, but it's like a Bitcoin.
It does the Bitcoin named token as well.
Does it?
Yeah. So it's not just, and I think a few other things, but for sure,
I have a Blockstream
product, right?
Yeah, I have a Blockstream Jade that I bought like a couple $100 at an ATM with once. I don't even know where that thing is. It's probably in this house somewhere. But anyway, I should get it out.
Jade.
We bought one with, I'm pretty sure, CBP Treasury money. And
I've tried a Ledger.
Yeah.
Jade, cold card.
They're okay. Like, don't get me wrong. Like the Jade is not at the bottom of the totem pole by any stretch. Like there's a lot worse stuff than that, made by a lot less reputable people than the Blockstream team. But this is sort of an unforgivable sin, I think, at this stage. And not to, bring it back to another podcast we do, like we do Access of Easy, which is, as I like to say, the latest and greatest in data breaching and overreaching. But, every week there's another database hack, leak, dark web cache of addresses, names, phone numbers, payment info from one of these websites. The last thing you want is Bitcoin to be worth $1 million and your address be floating around on the internet. It's the last thing you want. The last thing you want is for someone to see you and know that you own a bunch of Bitcoin and know where you live. Why would you ever want that? I think a lot of people are not anticipating this. And we say on the show all the time, you have to be prepared, because just as fast as it drops from 70 to 49 or whatever it got to this morning, that same move from 70 to 109 can be just as violent, or 70 to 209 or 70 to 1,000,009, it could be just as violent one day. All it takes is the right person saying the right thing, and off we go. There's no coming back once you get there. And so, like we always say, and like MVK has said many times too, I think he's maybe the one who coined this. Certainly wasn't you or I. You have to secure your Bitcoin like it's worth 10 times what it's worth right now. And, again, Cold Card doesn't sponsor the show. Yeah, we're friends with D. Like I get beers with D once in a while. He's been in my house for dinner, him and his lovely wife, but like they don't pay us. Like I don't have to say nice things about Cold Card. Len doesn't have to say nice things about Cold Card. We say it because we mean it. Everyone uses this product, and for all the shit these guys have had thrown at him over the years, whether it's been from Ledger, whether it's been from that, JT Weatherman guy, that Chewbacca ass guy on Twitter, or other people, the seed signer guys are going after CoinKite all the time for their products. And like the thing just works. I'm the only guy I know who's lost money on a Cold Card, and it was because I rolled a bunch of dice way too quickly, not even close to enough times, after having a few beers and heading out to a birthday party where I needed to move some Bitcoin around beforehand. I'm the only guy. No one else had this happen to them. So
nobody's come forward, to your credit, Joey.
Well, whatever. I came forward because other people got to learn from that, man. That Bitcoin that Bitcoin now is probably worth like.
Well, don't say it. I don't want to.
Enough for me to shed a tear. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point here is that you have to be secure, and these guys are one by one, Len. They're getting picked off, aren't they? All these other hardware providers. CoinKite hanging in. Love to see it, and I expect it to continue. What about you?
I think so. There's hardware. The device they release good. There's no issues I have with it. Now, it's not to say it's going to be good moving forward. Everything could, it could be hacked or attacked. But as I see it right now, based on the information I have, it's the best device, or one of the best devices out there. There may be others that are comparable to it. I haven't come across it, and I haven't tried it. So I'm not going to dismiss all the other ones. But of the ones that I have used, and I've used Jade, I've used Ledger, I've used Cold Card.
All of them.
Cold Card is by far the best.
I've even used other ones that claim they're air gapped, like the God, what do they call it? The
Is it Passport is one of them?
not Passport. This company sends me one of these things all the time. I don't know what I did to deserve this. Like, I'm not that certainly not a big enough name.
Is it Keystone? Is that
Keystone? Yeah. And those things are pretty good, honestly, Len. Like when I was buying at ATMs, I would use these different wallets like Jade or Keystone and just bring it to the ATM because they had the barcode on board, right? And it's honestly, it's a pretty good experience and it's air gapped, but I just don't know. Like the manufacturer is a little shoddy, right? Like who is, Keystone Hardware? They might be good, might be bad. The stuff ships from some unknown warehouse in the Orient, and like I see God bless the people who work there. I don't want to take broad sort of swipes at our Chinese friends because there's a lot of good people in Bitcoin regardless of where they come from. But when I see broken English in DMs, the first thing I think is like this. That's a part of the world where we've seen these problems in the past. And it's a part of the world that's objectively adversarial with the West at the moment as well. And so, like, do you want to put your Bitcoin on that? I don't know. Maybe not. Meanwhile, NVK is, grilling steaks, coming on CBP when we ask him, running a podcast where he literally talks about how every single person is trying to bust his hardware door down and they can't do it. He gets experts on there. He's been on panels and spoken with at length, both without and with a moderator. The guy who leads up Ledger, I can't remember his name, Pascal, I think. Yeah. Like these guys are very open about their business and their product. And like, there's other stuff I could say that I'm not going to because it's not fair to share it. But I'll tell you that ColdCard understands that, or CoinKite understands that if you buy a cold card, the likelihood that you need to buy another one is basically zero. They understand that. And they're still making that product as secure and as sort of future proof as possible, even though probably it's going to affect their bottom line at some point. And they don't care. That's a pro Bitcoin company. I don't know how else to put it.
Well, I'll say they have the Q that's been released.
Yeah,
I am not getting one, not because
I still have to order one. We have one in the
we're waiting for it.
Fuck, I got to do.
So whatever you want
right now. I'm gonna do it right now.
I am not
you take the next
myself.
story. Take the next story.
Okay, yeah. I'm not upgrading my cold card Mark IV because I like it.
Yeah,
and the Q is superior to it in many respects, but I like my cold card enough. I don't want to mothball and let it collect dust. That I feel in that regards, that's why I'm keeping it. It's a great product, the cold card Mark IV. The Q is slightly better, so buy either one. In my opinion, learn how to use it. Air gap that sucker. Don't expose your keys online. Away you go.
Yeah,
and yeah, BitClout, Joey. Remember BitClout?
Oh, I love this story. This is great.
So you did hear about this.
Before Breedlove was running alpha male seminars, he was pimping himself out on BitClout. This guy's taking L after L. Anyway, go ahead. This is great.
PBD was also doing
God. He's really fallen from great guys, eh?
Well, the one in particular pissed me off.
He was your favorite guy. As long as I've known you and we've spoken about what podcasts we listen to, you have always been a PBD disciple. And the last 3 months, you've completely changed your opinion on the guy.
Come on, you can't say one thing over and over again and then immediately do something else that you're trying to do something like against, or sorry, supporting something you talked negatively against for such a long time. That's hypocritical. And that's pissed me. Forget it. If you're going to do that, it's all about money. And if it's all about money, forget about it. So I'll go to the next one. Either way, BitClout, you talked about Mr. Breedlove that was once associated with BitClout. Either way, the SEC, they're going through all the files on their desk and they came across another one because they've decided to file charges against BitClout's founder, Nader Al-Naji. And they charged him with fraud and unregistered security offerings. And I've never heard of his name before. I read this article, so it's the first time I've heard of BitClout. But for people who are unaware, what is BitClout? It was a blockchain-based social media platform that aimed to monetize social influence. So users on that platform could post content, they could tip creators and trade creator coins. So you could just understand why the SEC is pissed off. And these tokens represented a user's reputation and could be bought and sold. So They called it an experiment in merging social media and cryptocurrency.
What a scam. What a scam, man. The language. Oh my God.
Yeah, so they closed it down following significant criticism and legal issues. And that was leading to its decline, and it shut down. And here the SEC is now filing this complaint. This all started back in November 2020, where they said the founder, he raised some $257 million from unregistered offering and sales of BitClout, while falsely telling investors that proceeds would not be used to compensate him or other BitClout employees. So in reality, the complaint alleges that he spent more than $7 million of investor funds on personal expenditures like rental payments for a Beverly Hills mansion and extravagant gift cards and gift cash to family members. He was paying for a lifestyle for him, friends, and family.
I love it.
And
you can't.
the
Can you
SEC
beat
is
this?
now
You
coming
can't
after him.
beat this. You just can't beat this, can you? This is just like as good as it gets, I think.
I think so, but man, years late, right? Like, I guess they had to gather all the evidence. But come on, man.
What do we always say? We always say that the gears of justice grind slowly, but very finely as well, right? And this guy is about to become a fine paste in the gears of the law. Who else really sold out and like just shattered their reputation with BitClout? Who are the other bangers on
I
BitClout? Let's
don't
see.
know.
Let me look up
The only one that
BitClout
just comes
users.
over and over again is Breedlove. For whatever reason, he seems to be the poster child.
That guy has been fucking doing the dumbest shit with his name and likeness. Remember when he was like reading for that Bitcoin wallet and he was like sitting next to a pool? It looked like something you'd throw pennies into, and he's like sitting there pretending he's big on this Bitcoin wallet, this hardware wallet, and he's clearly reading a script. It's like one of the worst fucking things I've ever seen. BitClout has a Wikipedia page. Let's visit it very quickly here. let's just have a quick visit, okay, over to the BitClout
reputable
Wikipedia
source
page. Yeah, very, very reputable. That's right, according to NewsGuard. Look into that if you haven't already, listener, viewer. Let's see. Oh, it's really only about the lawsuit, which is too bad.
So somebody copied and pasted.
Yeah, I would love to see who was on BitClout, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure like Natalie Brunell was on it too. Breedlove, a few other people trying to turn a quick buck on their fame and fortune. And I don't know. Is it too much to say that, you know, these people really should have suffered a more significant loss of legitimacy and trust than they did? Probably. I mean, Breedlove has really done a number on himself, dating the porn star and like messy, very messy. The Alpha Male Seminar, if you guys haven't seen that, is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. Would you ever go to an Alpha Male Seminar? And it's so funny talking about like health and fitness and stuff. Like, just get on TRT if you want to get bigger.
I've been asked to go on like trips for like golfing trips, and I've said no.
I've been asked to go on TRT.
No. These and I said no. So like that would be like way better, and I get way more out of that. And I said no to it. So like, why the fuck would anybody go to this? It's like you're spending, and the price too, Joey. The price is like around starting like 5 G's or so. It's like it's
for the seminar. Or the alpha weekend or whatever.
Yeah. See, that's the starting price for like the shittiest accommodation was like 5G. That's US. So you're spending about a tenth of a Bitcoin to go to this. I guess it's going to be expense for business related. Like somebody's going to be using businesses and expensing it that way. But can't money be spent wisely? You know, whatever. Do what you want with your money. A fool and their wealth will soon be parted. And the people that attend this are going to be an example of that, Joey. But I just wanted to talk about, I don't want to say the name of the person in the chat just in case he gets in trouble, but apparently something we talked about in the past, Celsius is going after people. Now, this guy in the chat, friend of the show, again, I don't want to say your name just in case get you in trouble. He had some BTC in Celsius, and now he's being summoned to give his Bitcoin back.
Stop. And this is going to be he's in the chat.
He's in the chat right now. I don't want to say who it is. Like,
holy, yeah, just, see it.
So this is a story we talked about in the past.
I gotta know what's going on. I gotta know what's going on with this. This is to me a completely insane story. I can't believe this is still going on. Okay, to this person, we need an update on this, like with all the information that you have. and we will not talk about it, but I need to know, like, this is just a personal interest story for me at this point. Imagine you pull out, like, let's say you had an expense or something, you know, a week before Celsius went under, you pull a Bitcoin or 2 Bitcoin off to pay for, I don't know, an addition on your house or something. You know, what was Bitcoin at that time? 30,000, 40,000, I forget.
Whatever
so you pull it off to buy an addition on your house. Then you get an email 3 years later saying, "Hey, you have to give that back. That's we got to give it to the people who were rugged." Like, oh my
Like, how fucking
God.
bullshit is this?
Insane.
Is the third,
it's insane.
And I was going to talk about this either last week or 2 weeks ago, and I talked about it the week prior to that. So this is something that's coming up a lot. They're going through all these people that had pulled money, and I think it's with a period of time, like 3 months or something, before Celsius went tits up. Why? Why are you going after these people? They didn't have insight.
You know why?
No, I don't know why. I honestly don't, because they don't have any inside information. They had nothing, just simply their intuition. I had to pull it out for whatever reason. Great. Yeah. And you know what? That's what you should be doing. An exchange is not there. You hold it until the end of time, until either you die or the exchange dies. That's what these guys are trying to say. That is not it is not the only scenario here. That's not the only timeline. There's a number of different ways you could come out of this, and one being you pull it off the exchange and you do whatever the fuck you want with the Bitcoin. That's what this guy is doing, or should. And
God.
And it's too bad he's gonna have to be through the ringer. And they're asking for today's price of Bitcoin, not the price of Bitcoin at which he pulled it out. Today's price. And if today's price like doubles in the next couple of months because we have a president that potentially will get elected as talking about Bitcoin, this guy's fucking screwed. Fuck you, Celsius. Fuck you, Celsius lawyers. You guys are doing these people wrong. Let them fucking walk. Not that they did anything wrong. They just simply pulled money off an exchange. Yeah. Nothing more, nothing less.
Doing by the way, what like it is one of the standard sort of, recurring themes in Bitcoin, right? Not your keys, not your coin, pull off exchanges, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, now you're getting sued. Is that nuts or what? Like, that is nuts.
Yeah, if he needs non-legal representation, because that's what I am, I'll be happy to show up in court and talk to him.
Let me know what you need, and we'll be there.
I'll be fucking yelling at them. I can tell you I'll feel better.
Let me know.
I don't know if you do in your case.
I'll be right there. I'm not even gonna wear a suit, but I will be there for sure. Okay,
let me know.
Let me know. We will be there. We'll be streaming. We're going live from the back of the courtroom. Welcome back, everybody. I was just asking easy. It's a CBP coming to you live from the fake Celsius trial.
Hey there. Are you recording in court?
It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane that this is going on. Did that guy ever go to jail, Mashinsky?
I don't know.
Like, if he's not in jail and he's sending out these letters, I mean, what are we talking about? Where's the legal system here? What happened? I thought we were ruled by I thought we were a nation of laws. Are we not? Are we not? Apparently we're not.
He may, like, if he hasn't yet gone to jail, maybe the process is underway, but I don't recall him being charged with anything. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has.
I don't know.
So there's a lot of questions we don't have answers to. Whatever it is, I hope that the law ends up prevailing, and whoever done something wrong ends up doing the time that they deserve. So, anyways, Ledin. Let's talk about Ledin. They're former sponsors of the CBP.
Great people. Love Maurizio on the team.
They've been really busy lately, right? Because this is from a CoinDesk article. And according to this, more people are using their service as retail lending has increased almost 30% from between Q1 and Q2 of 2024. So in terms of dollar value, and it's not just strictly retail, it's overall, over $1.1 billion of loans were issued in the first half of 2024. And that number is quite large, 1.1 billion. And if in terms of regional breakdown, North American customers are leading the charge, but since it's not available in Canada, we could just assume that it's all United States.
Yeah.
Latin America is number 2 in terms of regions that are using their service. And they say there's a lot of interest because of economic pressures and political volatility. So with these numbers, I'm betting that they're probably going to go public. Like they've gone through some rounds in the past of past angel investors, I'm guessing, but they did some seeds of funding in the past. And I think just looking at this, there's more interest and it's gaining some steam here.
Yeah.
I could see them going public one way or another, either through
I think they will too. Didn't we?
IPO or SPAC.
Well, we talked about last week or the week before. I think it was last week. I can't remember which episode I was cutting shorts up for, but there's a going to be an increasing demand for loan products against Bitcoin and loan products against Ethereum, which I think they also offer, right? Like everyone is going to want to use the stuff that is fixed supply to get the stuff that is not. This is the ABCs of economics and borrowing and asset, grading. And you're going to see this more and more. The other thing too, and actually it's funny, Mark and I were talking about this yesterday, that, I think I share this sentiment. There's I think in Bitcoin, a broad feeling that people who own a lot of Bitcoin aren't that liquid, because I just don't want to sell. I'm not going to sell Bitcoin for almost any reason at this point, right? Like, this is the time to be buying zealously, almost irrationally often, with the understanding that everything else is going to go sideways pretty soon. Not in the technical chart term, but rather in the philosophical, way things are going term. There's got to be a better way to say that, but I don't have the words today. And so, I think a lot of people are going to be demanding this. Now, the question still stands, and we asked Mario Gibney this back in the day when he was working for Ledin. He was actually, I want to get him back on the show. That reminds me, because he's a big AI guy now, and obviously AI in the news. He was ahead of the curve on that. I am curious about why they'd be going public if demand for the product is really increasing at this rate. Because you really only go public if you want money that you can't otherwise get through a raise. And if the product is, if the service offering is becoming more broad, let's say, or the demand is becoming more broad and more sustained, then you shouldn't need to go public. And also, like, what, as an investor, why would you invest in Ledin as a public company? Like, that's one thing I can't figure out. Wouldn't you, if you were going to be in a business like that, I don't know, like, is Visa a comparable as far as like retail investing? I know the service is not quite the same, but you're basically, in the loan business at that point, So I don't know. To me, it's hard to understand. I don't have all the details, obviously, but I'd be curious to hear what Maurizio or other sort of Ledin loyalists would say about that.
Did I understand you correctly? You're not sure why they would go public?
Yeah.
Because
why? Yeah. Why it doesn't? It only if they need money.
Well,
right?
I think it's more so if you think about it. You established a business, you put your heart and soul into it, all this time, effort, energy.
Yes.
And now, if you go public, you can, if all goes well, you can become fairly wealthy through the process, and it could be done almost overnight. And I'm simplifying it, this whole thing, but
I don't think Maurizio is the I want to get wealthy overnight type.
I'm just saying that's what typically it is. And
Maurizio, that was Len that said that, Maurizio. I would never say that, Maurizio. Thank you again for the sweatshirt and t-shirt, Maurizio. I would never say that.
CBP, we're going to be going public one day.
When? Listen, I'm starting a Patreon, okay? I want everyone who listens to the show to give me $5 a month so I can at least pay my electrical bills or something with CBP money. I got to figure that out. Anyway,
I'm just waiting to dilute, and use that to buy Bitcoin.
We only have 2 shares, I'm pretty sure. Do we not?
We could create a trillion
at the money offering. We should do an at the money offering is what we should do.
Joey, we could do a trillion right off the bat and just start, it's like what's a shitcoin? SHIB. There's I don't know what's the amount. Right? There's like an incredibly large amount that's in circulation. We'll be like,
I know where I get some SHIB. We need a little SHIB on this show. Oh my God.
Well, anyways,
let's the next story. I wish Ledin the best. I like Ledin a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them as a partner. I think they're a good company, and I like Maurizio too. I think he's a great guy.
Mutiny. They're closing up shop.
Terrible. Yeah, very, very.
Is it terrible?
It's pretty. It is what it is. Pretty sudden though, right? Like there's no. I shouldn't say there's no inkling, but there's no inkling from them until this morning when they just said we're closing it up. That's it.
Well, yeah, the CEO is burnt out. Apparently, he's had enough. He's fallen out of love with Bitcoin. This is an example of somebody that's put in a lot of time and effort into this project, and still, everybody has a point in time where they just burnt out, and this guy was probably burning the candle at both ends, and here he is. So fortunate for him. Just reading between the lines, I hope that he's well mentally, because doing this, walking away from a project, I'm not really walking away, but at least stepping down and eventually shutting down this project at the end of this year, which is what they plan to do, it leads me to believe there may be more to it that meets the eye with this guy. And I hope I'm wrong, and apologies if I am, but man, like Mutiny closing, it was, very much tied to Lightning. It's going to be removed from the App Store, the Play Store, and also the web-based client is going to be done later this year. But you can still do self-hosted solutions, but I don't think it's going to be terribly popular, as at least not as popular as it was once Mutiny was. But if you are using Mutiny, be aware. Yeah, I would suggest start moving your funds to something else. Like, use a different product and close up Mutiny as soon as you can, at least by the end of the year.
Yeah, nothing to add to this from a commentary point of view. I wish the guy the best as well. Being burnt out is not fun. I think I said this on a show, maybe with you, maybe with somebody else, maybe on a guest appearance, that 5-6 years ago, if you had told me that burnout was a real, like, when people talk about being burnt out, I would have said, like, no, you're a pussy. Like, you don't understand what it's like to work, and you don't want to work, and you're averse to doing difficult things for extended periods of time. But I've since experienced burnout, I think, not necessarily doing this show, but just, broadly in life, you're really running uphill a lot more than you realize. And, professionally and personally, and then the podcast and all this stuff, you do feel like sometimes there's never a time where you're finished. And I think, with a company like Mutiny, it's running a wallet, if you go through all that work to build something, Len, and you're always iterating, always trying to get better, that's one thing. But then when everyone around you is getting targeted by law enforcement and governments, that'll do it. Life is more important than a Bitcoin wallet, as much as I hate to say it. And I wish the guy the best. I think it's important to look after yourself mentally, physically, all those things. It's important.
Mm-hmm. Pacific Bitcoin.
Oh, who could have seen this coming? Who could have seen this coming? Let's pull up Pacific Bitcoin hype tape from last year, and you can tell the story.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very brief. That Pacific Bitcoin, that is it's tied very strongly to Swan. They're the people that run this event. Apparently, it's going to be no more. So Swan, they're going through the process of tightening their belts. We talked about it in the past, and we talked about it offline, you and I and a few others, if this is still going to go on moving forward. And, well, we got news today. The answer is no. It's going to be shelved, at least temporarily. I don't think they said it's going to be done permanently, but what the fuck do I know, Joey? I'm not sure if you want to add any more flavor to this.
Yeah, I'm going to bring the website up here because I don't think people realize, and I know Mark in the chat was, I think, tweeting last week that Corey, it's hard to run a company, all this stuff. It's not that I don't appreciate that. I do. Running a company is one thing. But what you actually see at the Swan Pacific Bitcoin is indicative of something else. And
I've seen the clip.
Of course, everyone's seen the clip. And the clip is, Corey running around in what I think is a basketball court they brought into the Pacific Bitcoin Festival so they could have a 3-point contest in the video game. I get it. Okay, you want to have some fun at the festival. I do.
Yeah.
But to me, it's pretty simple. I mean, I don't want to say it's simple, because Mark is right about one thing. I've never run a company. He has, I haven't. And I think a lot of people out there are correct in saying that it's easy to take shots at Corey. That's true. But my stance was, and will continue to be, that this picture was taken only 6 months ago or 10 months ago, whatever. The festival's in November, I'm pretty sure. So 10 months ago. One of two things has to happen. Mark giving me shit in the private chat now. One of two things has to happen, okay? Either he knew about the problems Swan was having and did this anyway to keep appearances up, or he didn't know about the problems Swan was having. And to me, that makes him an operator that leaves the company wanting in terms of competency. I hope Swan makes it. I think Swan, like I said last week, good Bitcoin company. They've done a lot of good work. They hired a lot of good people, and they've made a lot of good content and helped a lot of Bitcoiners. No doubt. No doubt. My question is only, did they lose focus for just long enough that it cost them half their staff and maybe the second or third biggest American Bitcoin conference? I think it's hard to say no. They did lose focus for a little bit. And this is why they had to, somewhat abruptly, even by their own staff standards. The one fella there, the black guy, I can't remember his name, who made a video last week or 2 weeks ago, a long video, and he was doing stuff for Swan all the time. And in the same studio that I guess is at his house, he made a video about the layoffs and basically said they had less than a week's warning that this was
Oh,
coming,
yeah.
and only a few people were putting it together in the week leading up to what was going on, that they were all going to
Yeah.
get laid off. Make of that what you will. You will only ever see me with my shirt off lifting weights in my basement 1-room gym. That's the most focus I will ever lose from CBP. You're never going to see me bringing in a basketball court, shooting 3-pointers, all this other stuff, and talking about how I got $30 million for a media company, and then, in 10 months, basically closing up shop on most of those media fronts, among others. We talked last week about this. They fired engineers, they fired media people, they fired back end, front, like, sort of customer service people, education people like Livera. I don't know. Say what you want about Coinbase, but at what point are people going to admit that Coinbase is the best run company, not named Bull? Obviously, I think Bull does a way better job than Coinbase, especially given their smaller team. But at what point are we going to admit that Coinbase is the company that really got a lot of this stuff right? Do they trade shitcoins? Yeah. Their bottom line is fucking untouchable. And all these other companies, I think, tried to do things that Coinbase wasn't doing well, better than them, and tried to usurp them in different ways, and tried to build sort of, at the foot of their castle, but they couldn't do it. They straight up couldn't do it. Here we go. Len's about to fucking go nuts.
Coinbase, man. Coinbase.
I'm buying a football from Team Issue. So let me just pull up the website and I'll start designing it, and you can go for it.
No, let me quit. Coinbase.
Go ahead.
Like, they've done a number of things wrong. Remember the NFT market they've set up, and there's like a whole bunch of things that they've put money. They bet on the wrong horse, and that's essentially it. And I don't know any pleb out there talking about, yeah, I use Coinbase, I like Coinbase. It's always something else. They cornered the market on the institutional stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a business and you want to use some sort of custody method, the ETFs are, when it comes to mind, for instance, Coinbase is going to be one of the companies that come to mind. They're top of the list. And that's where they're going to have their bread butter moving forward. And good for them. They cornered that market, and they do that, I guess, well enough. But man, like, who the heck uses Coinbase as like a regular Joe Blow or Jane Doe? I don't know anybody.
Me neither, but
nobody talks about it.
No, I know.
Well,
Canadians, I think Canadians are ahead of the curve on that whole thing.
But I hear, for people in the States, I hear about Swan. I hear about like fucking Strike.
River, Strike.
Like, I hear about never does Coinbase come into the equation.
I don't even hear that much. Like, up here, I know we're sort of in a bubble, because I know that almost all of our viewers and listeners use Bull, but I don't even hear that much about ShakePay anymore up here, honestly. Maybe it's because people are just not buying, but I think that broadly, some of these big corporate ones up here are not doing as well as they wanted to be. Sorry, Carlo. That's I know. Anecdotally, that's what I see.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I know, like, they're, aside from that hack they had not too long ago. Remember that there was some sort of hack that?
Yeah, it was was it a hack, or did they lock a bunch of accounts or something? Right, something like that.
Something like that. I mean,
because of a mailing list.
Yeah,
yeah.
Something like that, where information was like that. That was the blemish they had. After, like, before that, I would say, like, for a normie exchange, like just simply buying, if somebody came to me and said, look, I got to buy in Coinbase, what do you think about it? It sucks that, they have to just custodian and all that, but it's a normie exchange. I couldn't really shit on it that much. So whatever. I wish Coinbase the best. I wish everybody the best. And I hope people, like, to go back. So,
okay, there's a comment in the chat I want to talk about from Dave Bradley. My guess is that they failed to raise money they thought they could. I would be sympathetic to that point if Corey wasn't talking so much shit about how much money they had and how much money they gave out. And we played that clip from Matt Odell last week or the week before about how Corey was talking about how they gave like $200 million to all these different companies, and Odell couldn't find a single penny of it in any of the places that he was invested, in any of the contacts he had, or any of the circles he ran in. That there is something fishy about all that stuff that still hasn't really come to the top of the coffee here. But at some point, it's gonna be too frothy to ignore, and we'll see. Is Corey then tweeted out last week, right? What did he say? Oh, the fucking mining thing is gangbusters, blah blah blah. Like, what is that? Why would you even fucking say that?
I know, and I talked about this at length. We talked about it at length. I don't understand why they got into the mining business. They have right now, I think the number
But
is
he
around
said it's
5.
going so well.
It may be going so well, but think about 5 exahash per second is what they have. The last
It's
number
not
I
enough.
remember.
I know it's not enough.
That's
Yeah.
no, it's not enough. How much capital do you have to put in
Yeah. Yeah.
to set that up?
Yes.
That's an enormous amount of money that
Yes.
could have been spent. And we talked about this. What do you get out of mining? You know,
Nothing.
you're selling Bitcoin. You could easily just get it from anywhere and sell it to a customer. You're just playing the middle guy, not mine it and then sell it to people. That doesn't work in 2024 or even 2023 when they announced it. That ship has long sailed, man. These businesses, they don't mesh. Being an exchange and being a Bitcoin miner, I don't see what the overlap is. They're two different businesses. And even fucking Bitcoin mining, I've talked about it. I don't know how the fuck that's even going to survive unless there's a business that does other things that you can kind of hide it when things are going poorly, but when things are going well.
Like selling Bitcoin.
No, I would think oil.
Yeah.
And natural gas and shit like that.
It is weird though. Like there's clearly, I think, a disconnect there between what the company should be doing, what they are doing, and what they say they've been doing. And I think that was the startling thing, right? Anyway, I don't want to dwell too much on this.
Move on. I still got to do this boxing match still. I got to
fuck. We're so late here. What time is it? Hour 5 minutes. I haven't been keeping track of time. God bless you if you're on audio. We'll see you tomorrow. If you're on video, stick around. Len and I are going to be getting ballsy in the ring, talking about the Olympics. So we'll see you in a few minutes.
Don't be a cuck.
105.53. Okay, let's get fired. Where do you want to start?
Let's recap what's going on in the world. So we started off light. Let's go a little bit heavier here. So we had the Japanese market this morning, last night, whatever the fuck it was imploding. And this is all because the Bank of Japan decided to recently increase rates. And why is this happening? This is from what I gather. People correct me, you too, Joey. People were short the yen and long US dollar /
Kinda. So this is something called the carry trade. I tried to learn about this today. I don't know. To me, it just sounds like the Japanese interest rate is 0, right?
No. It was negative for years.
Right. So the money was free. And so you borrow in yen, you change the currency to US dollars, let's say, and you invest in US equities, other stuff.
And
then
money comes flowing in.
The money's free. The problem is that when you're levered to the tits on the carry trade, to the tune of, some people are saying $20 trillion are out there floating around on this trade between the Japanese government and other people and other entities, whatever. 20 trillion. Is that a lot? I don't know. Someone talk to me. Is that a lot? Will that fit on the block clock? I doubt it. And so the point is that they raised rates, I guess, somewhat unexpectedly last week, a quarter point.
But twice this year, Joey.
Yeah.
Twice this year they've raised rates.
Once to 0.
It's slightly above 0.
Yeah.
And then so it went for years being negative to then being, it's not negative. It's no longer basically risk-free, as Raoul Paul would say. There's now risk involved and shit starts to unwind. Right? Like, how many fucking times have I said that Japan was the canary in a coal mine? Yeah. What did I say? 2 dozen? I've said it enough times. This is fucking it.
I know.
This is the fucking canary.
I want to give you your flowers. I said this to Mark yesterday too. You know who Jeff Gunlock is? The Bond King, as Mark reminded me.
I've heard that name before.
Do you know what he mentioned on MSNBC or CNBC, I guess, their financial arm there, after the Jerome Powell address last week, the interest rate announcement last week? Do you know what he mentioned in terms of not believing the economy was as good as Powell was saying?
No.
Food bank lines.
So
you've been talking about food bank lines on this show for like a year and a half, saying like you just can't fake this. The lines are growing. More people are using food banks. Yeah, you can't fake it.
And it's a visual.
Yeah, that's what he said too. That's what he said too. He's like, everyone can see this. Everyone knows this is happening, and you can't bury it in like hedonic adjustments. If you're in line for the food bank, you're in line for the food bank. That's it. That's all. So kudos to you on that. But anyway, yeah. Go ahead.
All roads lead to land. People that want to walk it, great. People that don't, fuck you. Eventually you will. So let's move on, because what's happened with Japan, the disease is now spreading to other markets. Yeah. How the fuck Warren Buffett knew and acted upon this beforehand? He's either a fucking miracle worker and an oracle, as people call him, or had some inside information. I don't fucking know, but something seems a little suspect over there. Either way, fuck him.
Are you convinced that the Japan thing has been the cause of all this other meltdown stuff? Like, I don't really know. I was talking to Alex from Bull Bitcoin today about this a little bit, along with the other Bull Bitcoin guys and some other chats I'm in. Everyone seems to say it's that, but is it that? Is that the problem? Like the
Well,
yen?
you could really go further back to 1971
Oh,
probably to say
sure.
this is
Yeah.
it,
Okay.
right? So,
Okay.
but it's like people are blaming when Ferdinand was shot, and that's the reason why they went to war in World War One. Well, there's a whole bunch of other reasons too that brought them to this point. So that may have been the powder keg that went off, but you can't dispel everything that went up until then. So the same thing with this. This might be the powder keg that just fucking goes off, but a lot of dominoes were lined up perfectly beforehand, and you can't.
It's like it's that domino meme, right? Like going off the gold standard, yen imploding on the other.
That's really
it's bad. It's bad.
Iran now we have like these motherfuckers. They mean business. They're saber rattling right now. Like we're not talking buffalo sabers. We're talking fucking real fucking things out there. So they seeking vengeance because Hezbollah military chief was killed, as well as the Hamas leader. This was in Tehran.
Is this a crazy story or what? This story about how that guy was killed is insane. Have you heard the story?
Yes, and that shows like these guys are gonna fucking. Sorry, there's a potential these guys could fucking retaliate. To have something like this happen on your own soil, you're not gonna let this go because you're gonna have to at least. There's the opportunity of showing some strength here and say, look, we're not going to let this happen again.
The tweets are pretty nuts. Like it's talking about unprecedented responses over the next,
48 hours or something.
I think by Wednesday. I mean, are they using the Outlook like scheduling assistant when they're deciding when to drop the bomb? Like it looks like you're unavailable Tuesday and Monday. What about, is Wednesday a good day to start a war with you?
Well,
it looks like you have some availability before lunch. Is that too? Do you need a bio break in between that meeting and the war? Let me know. Please respond. Thank you. Talk to my executive assistant. Let me know.
But it's gonna be translated too from Arabic or Farsi. Sorry, Farsi into.
You're giving it away. You're giving it away.
So, diplomacy is now long gone. I think we got to the, and the only person that may have been able to do this would have been the Iron Sheik, but that guy is now long gone and enjoying the 72.
What about Sheik Roberto? Is he up to a task like this?
He's now a motherfucker. I'm not sure if you heard about this, but he's on the NFT bandwagon.
Is he?
He's doing ordinals, right?
No, too bad.
Yeah. So insta unfollow. Fuck him. He can make his money there, but I'm never gonna mention him again. Fuck that prick. Anyways, there's the story floating around that Israel may even do a preemptive strike. Cool. So that
hope you got your LMT shares sitting in your TFSA, because I tell you what, someone's got.
You're not gonna get it out. Your TFSA is locked. You think you're gonna be able to get your shit out of there? They're gonna close all these accounts, stop trading and shit like that. The only thing that's going to still be traded is Bitcoin. I can trade peer-to-peer Bitcoin and no problem. That the network is still going to run as long as you have one miner out there. And some
possibility for sure, buddy. I'm with you on that. That's definitely a chance.
There's so many variables out there that we're getting closer to World War III. But you know what? In my regard, for me, I'm too old for a draft, so I could, look in the sidelines and watch what's going on. So,
am I too old? What is the limit? I mean, Len, have you seen the Ukraine war? They're dragging guys older than you to the front line to the meat grinder there. Don't get carried away.
By the time that happens, I will take care of business. But no, in previous wars, it was 18 to 45 was the age in which they conscripted.
Wait a minute. When you say take care of business, are you talking like leave the country or like self-checkout?
I'm not going to say what.
What are we talking about here?
I'm not going to say what, but if push comes to shove, right? Like, knock on the door. What do you mean there's nobody home? San Salvador. What? What's going on? So let's get closer to home, because with all this shit going on, we have markets imploding too, not just abroad, but also domestically. And, we have this pending global war, XY dominating XX in the boxing realm. We have the US. It's true, right? We have the US out there, the strongest military in history. They are a controller of the US dollar. That's the strongest currency in the world. And one can make an argument that they're without a leader.
Yep.
Right? Like, think about this. Like, the dude in charge is on his way out. The second in command wants to be the person in power, but
she can't. The last thing you want is to go into war and have Kamala Sutra running the fucking show. Like, it would be a fucking disaster. Can you imagine the press conferences? Just unbelievable. It'd be a fucking mess.
Well, to her credit, she's trying to be the person in charge, but there's still some hoops that need to be jumped, and she's got to jump through them in order to get there. So, if I'm looking at it, you either have person A or person B that's going to be leading. And person B was almost assassinated not too long ago. And even though my Google searches didn't show up, I saw what happened in the news, right? So all this to say is the economy, it's still growing strong, Jack. Like every time I listen to the guy, I'm always comforted the fact that things are going. Sure, you may not be able to buy tomorrow's food, right? Your emission-friendly car might have a check engine light.
Here's why that's a good thing.
That I think that's a very good thing. Mine has been going on for decades now. The house that you want to buy, it's been bought by BlackRock. That's long gone. So now you're gonna be fucking renting forever. The orange guy is supposed to tank the economy, was supposed to go to war, but he's not even in power, and this shit's going on right now, right? Like, whatever. The fucking economy. The U.S. jobs are at the lowest level since 2021, and it's been trending downwards for 23 straight months. So jobs created by the private sector have been slowing down. Why does this matter? These are jobs that are created simply for economic needs, and it's not generally impacted directly by government spending. And that's a good metric. You look at what the fuck's going on with the economy, what's going on around you. The economy is going bad. War is imminent. The markets are crashing. But yet, we sit here, we're doing the show. What are we doing? We're talking about Bitcoin. I love it. It's all about Bitcoin.
Eating nachos, talking about Bitcoin. Listen, I don't know what to say about any of this stuff except just strap in. Like we were talking before the show, okay, about just how nuts everything seems and how like everything is kind of just someone is agitating someone else everywhere you look. Whether it's this, person with an XY chromosome. I mean, are they saying like being a male is a rare blood disease now? Is that what I'm seeing online, that having an XY chromosome, you can still be a woman?
I don't know, man. Like I don't know. One is beating up the other.
All I'm doing is asking. And the reason I'm asking is because I think that what you're seeing, to your point about the Google search and all this other stuff, is an intentional obfuscation of the facts. It's happening everywhere. These screenshots. QTR had a good one, actually. I can't remember where else I saw a few good ones, but his was good from last week. You can type in Trump assassination and get Kamala Harris campaign news in your results and nothing about the Trump assassination. Try and find that picture. Let's try it right now. Let's have a good time. Let's go to Google.
Did you see the truck he got, by the way?
I did, from Aiden Ross. I got to watch that stream. Apparently it's really good. Pablo from Bull Bitcoin was saying the stream was fucking awesome. I gotta watch it.
The clip was funny when he got the truck.
As a side note, Kamala Sutra could never do that. Okay. She could never hang with a streamer without a script for an hour and just, bullshit back and forth. Couldn't do it with Bryson DeChambeau. Couldn't do it with a streamer. Couldn't do it in a crowd. Certainly couldn't do it with a hostile media, though she'll never have to worry about that, thankfully. Trump assassination. Let's see. Trump assassination. Here we go. The top result. Trump baselessly blames assassination attempt on Democratic messaging from one day ago. Attempted assassination of Trump, blah, blah, blah. There's no pictures about this. And then basically the second tranche of results. The interview, Pete Buttigieg thinks the Trump fever could break. What we know about the assassination attempt, blah, blah, blah. There's not much here in terms of photos. It's largely being memory hold. Like, where's the picture? Doesn't everyone just want to see the picture? If I go to images, do I get the picture? Thank God, at least that's still there. But the what is that line from 1984? The last instruction from the state was to ignore what was right in front of you and believe them instead. Something like that. Something to that effect. It's happening all over the place, man. And I don't know. I just enjoy the ride at this point,
Yeah,
we're in so many good group chats with so many, fun people we really like and have gotten to know over the years through the show, and everyone's on the same page. It's like finding your tribe. Here we go. Boom Dust in the chat. Zero hedge. Let's put it up. Circuit breaker triggered for Nikkei 225 futures. Nikkei futures trading suspended after touching upper limit. We are having a time. Let me tell you, we are having a time. Now they're limit up, Len. What's going on over there?
When was the last time Bitcoin had a circuit breaker trip? Because the price went up or down. I don't know. I'm still waiting for that answer.
Okay, can you guys stop trading now? Anyway, what other stories we got? Let's hit another story. Let's get notable here.
Well, Pentagon, they found another $2 billion that could be used to help Ukraine. I'm not sure if you saw this one. So this is latest because it's due to an accounting error more than anything. And last year we talked about something similar. $6.2 billion was found last year in June. and that was due to another accounting error.
Where do they find it? Like it's behind
So I can
someone's
tell
desk?
you.
What's going
So,
on?
for example, like 10
Is it a
vehicles.
check?
Were,
An unsigned check? They forgot.
no. It's the way in which they value stuff that has been sent or not sent. So this time around, 10 vehicles, for instance, were incorrectly valued at $7 million compared to the 0 net book value that it actually has, according to so it's all just accounting stuff, right? The truck may exist, it may be there, it may still work, but it's valued at 0.
Oh man.
Right? So that's really how it is. So there's going to be some more that's going to be sent over, and yeah.
This cup has water in it. It should have vodka, honestly, for these stories. Well, someone explained to me how, yeah, he's just a little drinky poo. Someone explained to me how these guys are to be taken seriously anymore. Explain it to me. What am I to make of all this? Couple billion here, yeah, you can't afford food, of course. Yeah, definitely not. Oh, I mean, the healthcare system is broken. Entitlements are done, toast, finished, boiling on the side of the road. And,
but the good thing is, like, what they're giving is, I mean, the good thing, some people have the notion it's money that's being sent over there. It's not. It's really just supplies, and there's a value of ammo or equipment or shit like that. That's what's really being sent over for the most part.
Yeah.
So, and that's what, when we're sending over X amount for aid, that's the aid they're sending over. So, and what they could do then, they can replenish the supplies here, because that stuff is near end of life, and they could get some new equipment and just replace it. It's kind of an easy way to do it. I'm not trying to justify it, but that's essentially what is being
it's all
done.
just a tax write-off, buddy.
It's just creative accounting, but still, instead of, I guess, selling it or surplusing it somehow and recouping it, or maybe even scrapping it and using some of the parts, they're not doing it. It's being sent over to the war to be used over there, and that's essentially how it's being done. So, if on the surface it looks funny that they just found $2 billion, but again,
funny is one word that you could use. Yeah, there's some other ones, but funny is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks funny. All right. Yeah. It looks pretty funny.
Let's go to
notable.
Chicago.
Looks notable. That's what it looks like.
Let's do it CBP Chicago style here, because Chicago keeps delivering, right? And I before we go there, since we're talking Chicago, big congratulations to Steve Mongo McMichael for being selected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, ALS, it's taking a hold of him, and he looks
terrible picture, but really a nice moment for his family, I think.
Yeah. But anyways, back to the story. This is about a gentleman by the name of Sean Hill, not the former defenseman for, I think he played for Anaheim, but this is just a random dude in Chicago named Sean Hill, 54-year-old guy. This guy was arrested 75 times since 2015. 75. Nice. But in his mugshots are world class. Like, one of them, he's smiling. Another one, he's giving a thumbs up. So it's really good stuff. But I don't want to poke fun at him, but rather the system. And there's a reason why. Because the police department described him with untreated mental health issues, and they have his hands have even been mangled by frostbite. He's been out in the cold. Chicago's notoriously cold in the wintertime. So it's a sad story over here, but a guy that needs help, but probably won't get it. Not because, I don't know if he's trying to get it, like, or seek out the help, but it probably doesn't even exist, given that everything is stretched so thin. But last week, Mr. Hill was caught by the police for theft. They processed him. For whatever reason, they decided to release him. I guess because it was a misdemeanor. Anyways, less than 2 hours after release, arrested again for assaulting a 39-year-old. This shit just keeps going on. There's so many people like this in this situation that they have mental health problems, and for whatever reason they can't get. That's him. And I don't want to poke fun at him. Like, the guy, he's got mental health issues, and he's got frostbite, like, on his hands, fucked up his hands. So this guy's in a bad state mentally and physically. And you know what? There's a lot of people like this, and it's going to just grow, and it doesn't help out the environment, because this guy goes out there, assaults somebody, and then that person now is traumatized, and this shit just spirals out of control. Why? Because you know what? They're spending money on everything, and there's not enough that could go for people that actually need it, which is too sad.
I have no additional comment to this. We've talked about this so many times, that the state has so few really legitimate, necessary responsibilities to the people it governs. One of them is, broadly speaking, public safety, and they can't do it. They can't do it. Look at some of the videos, like, without getting into the sort of nitty gritty of the videos from Birmingham in the UK today. Does that look like a state that's able to ensure public safety? Chicago, this guy getting arrested 75 times in 7 years or 8 years. Does that look like a a state that can enforce and protect public safety? Either they can and they're
it.
not, or they can't. And
Yeah.
pragmatically, it's the same thing. And you got to ask yourself, like, you're paying taxes to this stuff.
Yeah.
What are you getting for it? What are you getting for your taxes?
And
Chicago's one of the most dangerous places in the country. Zero Hedge every weekend tweeting about how there was 30, 40, 50, 100 shootings in Chicago over a weekend.
It's always the case there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, like guys like Sean Hill, like I feel bad for it. What's it like? I can kind of guess what's going to be the outcome for him, which is I hope I'm wrong, but just I've seen this story play out so many times. It's a human being, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is somebody that was born was a child and
guy needs help. Needs help.
Yeah,
needs
yeah.
help.
It's just not there.
And he's like, we are paying for him to get that help and he's not getting it. Instead, he's a menace in the neighborhood.
Yeah. That's sad reality. And but let's move to California quickly because
Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago. You're welcome on the show anytime. Talk to us about this stuff. Anytime.
Does it $200 for
I'll give him 200 if he wants $200 to come on. He can. I'll do it.
And that's for beautification.
He can give the taxpayers back whatever he's spending on beautification, right? Because he had a budget for that too. You may remember.
Is that the going rate? Because did the rate go up because of inflation? Because it was $200 at one time.
I don't know. I have to ask.
We have to find out.
Ask the person in question,
directly or indirectly.
Send him an email.
No comment. California, they're losing another big company. And Chevron, well, they had their headquarters based in San Ramon, California, and it's now leaving that for Houston, Texas. And the company expects all corporate functions to migrate to Houston over the next 5 years. And the reason for this is because they're seeking a laxer, more business-friendly regulatory environment. So that's why they claim to be leaving California for Texas. And this move comes after Elon Musk publicly said he wants to move X and SpaceX to Texas. So that's another couple of big companies that may consider moving too. But either way, for the Chevron story, it's approximately 2,000 employees in the San Ramon area. That's a stone throw away from Oakland. And presumably a lot of them are well-paying jobs. So you have the loss of employment, loss of corporate taxes coming in, personal taxes that are going to be paid for when people work, employees that probably won't be spending as much money. There's a whole bunch of things that just spiral out of control here. And you know what? They'll have to figure out a way to make up the lost revenue somehow. Not to say that Chevron's probably bringing in a great deal, but it's just another one and just another one. Eventually, it's like, holy fuck, it's then noticeable. And there's a lot less money coming in. What do you do? I don't know. What a disaster.
You're not surprised by this, though, are you?
Well, no, I was surprised the fact that Chevron had their headquarters in California. I would suspect it would have been Texas all along.
That's fair. It's to me, it's just another sign, right, that you're seeing really legit brain drain now. There's not really much debate about whether or not people are staying in these places anymore. Famously, I shouldn't say famously because it just happened, but Jason Calcanis, who's one of the all-in guys, who's a big at least he was. I think he's actually starting to shift to the right because even he can't justify some of the insane policies in California. He's been a liberal politically, at least in the 2 or 3 years I've been listening to that show, probably before that as well. And he just announced publicly, and actually the guys on No Agenda covered it too, that he's leaving. He up and left for Texas. He bought a bunch of acreage on a horse farm, and he's just done with California. He's like, I'm not going to stay here. I can't raise a family here. As much as I like the area, I like the idea of California, the idea of Los Angeles, whatever, San Francisco, pick your city. It's just not what it needs to be to facilitate growth, either professionally, personally, or some mix of the two. And when you see these other companies doing this, Elon, he's a bit of a cult figure, but do you think that guy can drive emigration from a jurisdiction? I think he probably can, business-wise for sure. And those companies like Chevron, SpaceX, Twitter, whatever, they employ, I don't know, a couple hundred people, let's say 1,000 people. Is that many people?
Chevron alone's 2,000.
Yeah, I meant Twitter and SpaceX, but yeah, Chevron would be a much bigger one for sure. So let's say between those 3 companies leaving, you drag out 3,000 people, 4,000 people max. Okay, that's not a huge hit necessarily in like pure bottom line numbers, but that's a lot of trickle down. You know, it's a couple less sandwiches every week at the store. And so the thefts make a bigger difference and all these things. And as that starts to happen, the effects are cumulative and compounding on other members of that small economy. And everyone makes the same decision, because at the basis of economics, regardless of whether you're Keynesian or Rothbardian or whatever, every person in an economic system is at their core a rational actor, and rational actors always make rational decisions. It's just a matter of when. And the longer we go, the more people will make that decision, because it becomes undeniably rational. And, you know, in some cases, Len, it's like your personal safety, not necessarily economic well-being, that becomes the principal concern. It's going to continue. I look forward to seeing what California is going to be like in a few years. I think we'll be doing a lot less stories about companies leaving California and more stories about like roaming gangs of homeless fentanyl zombies taking over small communities. That's my prediction. 3 to 5 years from now, that'll be the bulk of the stories.
No, they'll run out of companies that are going to be leaving. So eventually we will not have any more stories to talk about.
Yeah.
And Boomdas is saying the Nikkei is up 8% in pre-market. I can't
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
So, you know what the funny thing is? It had its biggest drop in one-day history.
57 years. There hasn't been a drop that big.
And now there's probably going to be the one-day increase in all its history.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And you know what? In a week's time, nobody's going to be even thinking about what just happened.
I'll be ready with the next round of memes for the next.
No, I'm not talking about like we remember. I'm talking about the normies out there. It's like, oh, you know what? 2 days it wiped each other out, and it were net, zero net gain, which is whatever. But what the fuck? Like, how close is this to like just fucking toppling over? The confidence people have, it's not there. And this thing is just all fake, and it's all levered up to its tits.
I love it. I'm a huge fan of this stuff for content. I was talking to Kenzie last night. She was at the cottage, and I was here at home just like watching this thing implode. And every time I talk to her about like the economy imploding, she's like, just don't watch it. It's like, obviously if it's going down, like don't watch. I'm like, I have to. The content is just unbelievable. The memes. And I sent Mark and you that meme of the guy. He's like, are you ready for the economic collapse? And then the Pepe responding, I have so many memes saved. Like,
did you catch the economic collapse last night?
Yeah, I just got all the memes ready. Like, what am I gonna do? I don't care. Thankfully, I don't have to sell anything I own, like stuff I'm not planning on touching for a decade or longer. It goes down by 20%. I don't really care that much, but the memes are fucking awesome. It's good to be a Bitcoiner.
Bitcoin dropped how much in the past couple of weeks? 15%?
From 70 to 49 in the last like month or so.
That's not over 20%.
Weeks. That's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like 30-40%. Yeah.
So that happens in a very short period of time. You know what? We just fucking
who cares?
In the shop, right?
Who cares?
But this happens in TradFi. People are fucking jumping off.
I know. They're committing seppuku or whatever in front of their laptop.
Yeah, it's the job. But here, like we see this. It's like, what the fuck?
Let's talk about how bad things are going in Chicago instead.
Let's talk about it, then we'll go for a walk to the store.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, it's funny because it could happen in Bitcoin. We don't give a rat's ass. But C&E, we'll talk about that quickly. Not sure if you saw this.
Of course,
the
I
Canadian
did.
National Exhibition for people.
So opens next week, right? 2 weeks, best 2 weeks of the summer. Everyone says.
Yeah, interesting food is usually on sale over there. So they're hiring for people. This is for a very short period of time. And somebody posted on Twitter X a video of people that were lined up over there to apply for jobs. It was estimated around 3,000 to 5,000 people showed up in person that queued up to submit an application. They say in total around 36,000 plus people submitted applications to get a job over there. That's a small town worth of people for applying for just a 2 week job, right? I guess it's just anyways, gate attendants, info guide, midway staff, food handlers, cashiers, retail associates. That's what they're hiring for. So, entry level, low paying jobs. And I don't know how many jobs out there that are going to be filled, like in terms of the people applying. It's 10% conversion rate. I don't know what it is, but either way, they should have done something to keep the people occupied in time. Maybe they could have had Olivia Chow dancing and doing something as a way to maybe just give them something to look at. I'm not sure, but either way, they dropped the ball on the entertainment value. But what are your thoughts on this whole story?
Where do I start? Let's talk first about the number of people applying for those jobs. As unemployment in the country continues to rise faster than immigration, which obviously tells you that we're not getting jobs for all the immigrants come in, clearly. Canadian GDP per capita fell below $50,000 US last week. So we are now, thanks to these policies, the same policies that, land you with 34,000 largely immigrants applying for jobs at CNE. We're on par now with states like Alabama, Kentucky, West Virginia, some of the poorest American states out there in terms of productivity and GDP per capita. We're on par with them. So this idea that, Canadian economic policy is quote unquote working is wrong, demonstrably so. In fact, it's going the opposite way. There's something to be said about the idea that the economy here is one that's benefiting most Canadians in terms of like job availability as well. We can talk about, the sort of immigrant population. It's an easy target, but the sort of more important target, I would say, is that for the first time, basically ever, we have, I shouldn't say for the first time ever, for the lowest, the current set of data, we have the lowest employment rate for 15 to 24-year-olds ever, basically at this point in Ontario. So you're seeing these things all kind of come together. CNE is a symptom. Unemployment rate from 15 to 24-year-olds is a symptom. GDP per capita, a symptom. And the problem, I think, is the growth policy that we have. There's a guy on Reddit who made an LMIA map. It's at lmiamap.com. And it's every business who applied and was successful for getting an LMIA, a positive LMIA assessment in 2023 and 24. And Len, let me tell you, there are a fuck ton of businesses, okay? Some of these are insane, all right? 8,000 positions in the GTA approved just in the last quarter under LMIA. This is the low wage, government pays a bit, you pay a bit subsidy for I don't want to call them low wage workers, but they are. They're generally foreign workers who are working at low wage jobs. You can't really slice it any other way. Hate to break it to you, but that's the way things go. Couple of notables here. 8 approved positions for McDonald's on Plains Road in Aldershot. Do you think Aldershot McDonald's has a hard time finding like Canadian staff members, Canadian applicants? I doubt it. 3 approved cooks at Earl's at Mapleview Mall, another place I doubt it's hard to find good staff. Harvey's at 3500 Dundas Street East apparently needed to hire 10 people from overseas to cook and serve. Insane. Auto Spa on Appleby Line brought over 15, quote, specialized cleaners from overseas to vacuum fucking cars. What the fuck are we doing here? People are in food lines. There's 34,000 people, okay, applying for jobs at the fucking CNE to sell you funnel cakes and steal your money at the Midway. And this is where the LMIA jobs, this is a disaster, okay? And, if I look at this list of grants, I got this from Table Salt on Twitter. There's a list of grants for people who are hiring newcomers. Advanced Pathways offers a wage subsidy to employers hiring quote unquote skilled newcomers. Scam. Environmental Foreign Talent Development Program is a federal program delivered by ECO Canada and offers funding to employers. The program provides funding of up to $15,000 for new permanent roles. Scam. Welcoming Newcomers Wage Subsidy Program. The Welcoming Newcomers Wage Subsidy Program provides employers in the electricity sector with wage subsidy to hire newcomers to Canada in full-time roles. The wage subsidy of 50% up to $10,000 to help newcomers come over to the workforce. Scam. Last one, skilled newcomer internships for bioeconomy, covering up to 75% of the employee's salary, up to $20,000. Len, say it with me. Scam. Scam. We don't need any of this stuff, okay? Somebody is making a fuck ton of money hiring these guys. Well, a bunch of people in a demographic that needs to find jobs to gain experience are at the lowest employment level in history, 15 to 24s. Does no one see this as an issue? I don't know. But the more data you look for, the more you just want to slam your fucking laptop and throw it into a fucking wall. because there's
Make
no,
sure it goes in the lake and there's Bitcoin on it, so then you
oh
can at
my
least say it's a
God,
boating accident.
I know. Now worse, from Ben Rabideau, okay? Immigration just passed climate change as the most important issue, or as one of the 3 most important issues in the coming election, okay? Or one of the 5, I should say.
Immigration did? Like,
number 1 on the list of issues in Ontario, according to this survey. Housing affordability, inflation, healthcare, immigration at 19%, climate change is 17%. So like we're barely making a dent. It's one of the things that really drives me nuts, because I can clearly see there's a problem. People who look at the data can clearly see there's a problem. But when you ask yourself, man, who's still watching legacy media? The answer is fucking everyone else. And everyone else doesn't get it. They don't get it. They're talking about climate change. Whether you think that's important or not, it can't be in your top 5 if the food bank line is around the corner, if the CNE's got 35,000
they
applicants.
see it. I mean, come on. There's no way that this is
They
not being
don't
unnoticed,
see it
so.
enough. It can't be 5th on the fucking list. 5th on the fucking list lands you another liberal majority.
You know why it may be 5th for a lot of people? Because there's other things that they'll say that's impacting them. So if the price of housing is gone up quite a bit, and it has everywhere in the world, not just Canada, that means then you have to pay more for it, and then so that's less money spent elsewhere. So other things. What was the other things you mentioned? So it was affordability with housing, climate. You said was 17%. What was the other?
Let me go back and pull the chart up here. Top 5: housing affordability. Well, let me move this. Housing affordability, inflation, healthcare.
Inflation, okay, yeah, healthcare, yeah. So these are all things you could say because they impact your daily life, right?
For sure.
So
for sure. The thing is that if you look at all those things, what is the common sort of denominator between all 5? It's immigration.
It's
immigration.
regulation or policy driven.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, say whatever you
Right,
want.
no,
immigration policy
true.
and immigration regulation is what's driving a lot of this stuff.
If
housing
theoretically,
affordability specifically, the Bank of Canada like clearly saying, we talked about this last week, that there's no fix on the supply side. The demand side has to be addressed, and there's no willingness to do it. And so whatever, I'm going to keep rolling downhill here.
let's just move on because there's
our buddy Mike Campbell. Just one other thing here to add to the CNE story, which I think is important. Globe and Mail headline: employers still turning to low-wage foreign workers in record numbers, according to the data, even as unemployment rises. All while the immigration minister, by the way, is saying that there needs to be a cap on foreign entries of all kinds, but it doesn't seem to be happening. RBC replaces Canadian staff with foreign workers. Axed employee blows whistle. Federal government investigating. What are they going to investigate exactly? Any idea?
I don't know.
I read you the grants. It's a rational decision for companies to do this as long as they're allowed.
The labor market
impact assessments. Yeah.
So it's there to try to fill a need, theoretically. Like, an employer has a job, they got to have it filled somehow, and they tried to have it filled domestically. They couldn't, so they're going abroad to fill it. That's theoretically the way it works. So maybe the system needs to be somehow revamped. I'm guessing.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it does. Yeah. Maybe, Len. I don't know. What do you think? You think it might be?
Hey, man.
There might be a need to reassess and revamp that system?
I'm sure they're in the process of figuring things out. But let's talk Conestoga really quick.
Oh, I love this one. When are we going to see fucking Warren Buffett announce a stake in Conestoga College? It can't be much longer. Lucrative business going on over there.
Yeah,
shout out to those guys.
Did you see the residences? Like how it's something like 15,000 people. Like they have on there. Like that's a lot. I mean, foreign.
Have you driven through Kitchener, like Tri-Cities in the last little while? I go to physio out there with a friend of ours. He's my physiotherapist.
The only time I go there is for the place where we all meet up, and which is
I go through there now like every 2 or 3 weeks. And let me tell you, the traffic there, Len, is worse than in Hamilton. It's worse than in Hamilton. There's just too many fucking people. There's too many. And if you look at Conestoga's bottom line, they need something over there. I don't know what it is, but maybe there's another thing that we could revamp over there.
I just want to plug Innocente Brewery. That's the only reason I tend to go out there. I just want to give them a plug.
Okay, tell me about the Conestoga bottom line. This story is incredible.
Wow, quickly, it's $252 million surplus.
Yeah.
How?
They're a unicorn. They're a unicorn. Can you believe it?
They found the way.
Don't make me pull up the vegetable cutting video again. Don't make me pull it up. Do not
Well,
make me pull up the video of the guy coming from India, 13,000 fucking miles, talking about how Conestoga taught him how to hold a knife. Don't make me pull up the video.
they print money over there.
Oh,
And
they print
they
money,
do
all right.
it.
They're
They
printing
do
money, all right.
it. That's it. That's actually it. They found the loophole. So I wish I could invest in Conestoga.
Making me
I
knock over my coffee cup over here. I'm getting my blood pressure's going up too much at the end of the show. I'm not gonna be able to fucking sleep.
You didn't talk about the dancing video.
Oh my god, Olivia! She looks like she's a
Yeah.
fucking Veld. Did she miss the fucking gate for Veld? She's trying to get to Eric Pride's, not the fucking Caravana parade. God, what a mess! And like 3 blocks away or 4 blocks away, there's like a Hamas Palestine like anti-Jewish protest. Like, help it make sense. Make it make sense. What am I missing here? Accelerate.
I
That's
can't.
That's
I
it.
mean,
It's accelerate only. It's accelerate only.
exactly.
Shaking her shit at the Caravana Festival while the city burns. All
I
right.
love it.
All right. Yeah. Sign me up. I'll be there next year. Mayor Chow, come on the show. Happy to have you. I'd love to talk to you about it.
She'll win
I'll come to
again.
your office and bring the camera.
The next election, she's going to win again. I
I
can't.
know.
I don't know who's. I mean, at this point, I haven't heard a name that's saying, "Yeah, I'm going to run against her and give her."
Who wants to run that city?
I'm sure there's a lot of counselors that want to move up.
Oh fuck! I don't know. It's like getting a bump. It's almost like the Peter principle, right? Like getting a bump in responsibility because you've done something well to the point where you're not able to do the things that got you there in the first place. I think a lot of city councils are at that point, especially in big cities. Hamilton, I think, is there. Toronto is there. I don't know. There's probably other cities I'm not thinking of. Burlington might be there, but Burlington's not really the same sort of like, I don't know, what's the word? Shithole that Toronto's become over the last little while. It was just like a raging drug, homeless encampment problem, cost of living insanity. It's crazy. It's crazy. And like, listen,
a lot of that. I mean, I'm going to defend them here. A lot of this is not really. It's because the dollar itself was devalued, and
that's part of the problem. Yeah.
So they're just there to do other things. Granted, like, you could say, fine, property taxes have gone up. Okay, they are the ones administering it, but still everything has gone up. So that's going to have to go up accordingly as well. So they're just there to do whatever. So I'll defend them to a degree because they're not really the big slice of the problem. Maybe a small slice of it they could be attributed to it. One can make an argument, but the big of it, like, no, that's not them, man. They're just there. Right? They're just there to make sure garbage is picked up. They're just there to make sure streets are plowed, shit like that.
Yeah. I put LMIA map in the chat. I'm not going to go to any of these businesses. You guys do whatever you want. I'm not going to go to any of these. If I can avoid it at all, I'm not going. Period. End of story. I said this the other day on Twitter that here in Dundas, I overpay for everything. Okay. Me and Mark went for lunch yesterday. It's an overpay. I go get a coffee. It's an overpay. I go to the store to buy like a shirt. I don't go to H&M or Uniqlo. I go to the place in town. It's an overpay. I go get a beer at the local brewery. It's an overpay. It's always an overpay. But the alternative is that these little shops close down and your community turns into a Century Initiative fucking freak show inside of 10 years. And the things that you loved about your community are destroyed by people who only care about extracting value from you and the people around you. They will do it at any cost. Any cost. Community is so important. And, it may be tempting to go buy that coffee from Tim Hortons for $1 or from McDonald's for $1.50. Don't do it. Brew it at home or go overpay once in a while for a coffee in town. Keep that barista employed. Keep that coffee shop open. Go to the local Indian restaurant. Go to the local Italian place. Go to the local food spot. Keep those people open. Because if you don't, the alternative is dire. It's dire. You see it everywhere. It's weed shops, cash advance places, and fucking Subways. Everywhere you look, if you don't keep those places running. So yeah, are you going to overpay?
Is Jared out of prison yet?
Pedo Jared, I don't know. Whatever happened to that guy? He's got to be doing a long sentence, right? Child porn, that's got to be a bad one.
He's been there for what, for like 10 years?
At least. Yeah.
So, I mean, he may be halfway there, depending on the sentence. I don't know much.
Yeah. Boomer saying farmers markets too, 100%. Like go to these things, man, and pay a little more. So what? You're not just paying for the product. You're paying for the community that you enjoy. That's the
farmers
cost
markets
of the
rock.
community. Yeah, like if you don't go, even my wife overpays, I think, for like these pottery classes she does, right? She makes these like cups. She's pretty good actually. Maybe if she sells some at Christmas, I'll tell you guys you can buy one. But the thing is, like, if that little art school goes away, what replaces it? If that little coffee shop goes away, what replaces it? If the restaurant closes, what replaces it? You're not going to like it. You are not going to like it. You're going to wish you paid extra for the nachos, for the beer, for the whatever.
See, and at the beginning of the show, you were knocking the choice of nachos. Now you're defending it. So you went full circle in the hour and 49 minutes.
Nacho flip-flopper.
Yeah. And with that, it's a good time to end it. So like
Yeah.
flip-flopped in one particular issue, and what would be the most
That's
important
right.
one, the nachos.
Listen, God bless all you guys. I appreciate you guys all listening, watching. I'm reminded about how great the community is on CBP when, we add a sponsor or get a good guest or something like that. It's really because you guys watch and listen, and the community around the show is important to us that we're able to do the things we do. So thank you again. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow with Kevin Muir. Len, you want to say anything before we sign off? I know you do.
Don't be cock.